Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the main card of UFC 178 right now. We're talking with Nick Kalikas from MMAOddsBreaker.com, and our calling guest is Reed Kuhn from Fightnomics.com, and he is also author of the book Fightnomics. All right, guys, we're going to discuss Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier right now, and interesting fight, right? McGregor is the guy with all the hype, with the mouth, the up-and-coming guy, but he's fighting, a tough fight. Poirier's ranked number 5, and McGregor's minus 265 here. Is that a little bit of an overreaction? I don't know. Let's start with you, Nick Kalikas. Is the public just enamored of McGregor and just betting him at this big favorite line?
Absolutely. I mean, this guy, Conor, leave it to the UFC, you got to credit them. I mean, they have something, they have a huge star in Conor McGregor, and they realize it. So, I mean, the guy has a huge fan base, and it's rapidly growing. I mean, he's one of the most popular fighters in the UFC right now, period. I mean, it's just everything about the guy. I mean, it's not just all talk, though. Look what the guy's done in the octagon so far. I mean, he's come in there and showed up. He's put on some great performances. But that being said, this is a fight for him. I mean, Poirier is a very talented fighter. He's ranked in the top 10 for a reason. I mean, the guy has a tremendous upside to him as well. So, more well-rounded, actually, too. If this fight hits the ground, I mean, it's definitely Poirier's fight to win or lose if it does hit the mat. I mean, he's that good, and he could definitely finish, I think, a guy like McGregor. But McGregor has shown some pretty solid wrestling, and he's stand-up-wise, it should be a fun firefight as well. It should go back and forth, but McGregor has a little bit more power, and I think people think that he should be able to keep it upright and probably get the knockout because the guys look phenomenal on the feet.
Mm-hmm. But the public is coming in on McGregor, and sounds like the books are going to need Poirier?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, actually, there's some books out there that opened Poirier as the favorite, over 2-1 at one point. So when the line originally came out, they beat us to it, and it was around 2-1 for Poirier. Wow. I opened minus 170 for McGregor because you know what? I knew that the public would be on McGregor's side a little bit more so with all the hype, everything going on with him. He's the next big thing, so I figured that they would come in that way. And, rightfully so. I do slightly lean towards McGregor in this spot because I do think that Poirier on the feet, I mean, he's very talented, but defensively he does get tagged quite a bit. And McGregor has that kind of knockout power that you don't want to mess with too much at all, and it doesn't take much for him to end a fight. So that's what my concern here is. I think that the public might be on the right path, though. If McGregor's able to fight smart and use decent fight IQ overall, keep the fight upright, he should be able to land the more effective blows. And if that happens, I don't know if Poirier can stand that kind of power.
Reed Kuhn, we know that Conor McGregor's confidence and his self-promotion skills are beyond question. But what do your stats say about McGregor as a favorite of minus 265? Is that too high of a line?
I don't think it is. McGregor's stats are exceptional. He's a southpaw. He fights at a very high pace. He controls the cage. He's accurate. He's powerful. And he's got the defense. He avoids getting hit very well. So the striking stats line up very favorably against Poirier, who is also a southpaw. No size differential, but just on the skill metrics alone, it has the recipe for a barn burner on the feet. But who's landing the better exchanges is probably going to be McGregor. These guys combine for over 30 strike attempts per minute while standing and trading. So this could be the fastest paced fight on the card, at least while they're standing. Now, on the ground, we simply have not seen how McGregor might react to submission attempts and to any pressure in the grappling department. He's been pretty good at staying off of his back. He's generally controlled opponents on the ground. He's defended, I think, 6 of 7 total takedown attempts, but it's just not a lot of history to really draw a conclusion. Unfortunately, Poirier's takedown offense is only 31%, which is below average. So the question is, can Poirier get it to the ground? And then what happens when he's down there? Poirier is the more seasoned grappler, the more dangerous submission artist, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get to that position. There's certainly potential for the big upset if he does get down there, but that's going to be a very tough call against McGregor, who's going to be countering and landing harder strikes.
All right, well, I'll tell you, it makes me very nervous to bet a big self-promotion guy as this kind of a favorite, but I wouldn't want to bet Poirier here either. I am thinking, though, I think that this fight might last a little bit longer than the market's giving credit for, and over 1.5 rounds right now is just minus 145. Do you have any opinion on how long this fight's likely to last? Because I'm thinking that maybe the over here might be a pretty good bet.
The 1.5 is a very short total for a featherweight fight. You don't normally see that. That's usually reserved for heavyweights. So I agree. It may go more than 1.5 rounds, but is it going to end inside the distance? I don't think it goes to the cards. Between Poirier's submission threat and McGregor's striking threat, and the fact that these guys do not like each other and they are going to be throwing down, I think that's just a lot of violence in the same cage. I don't think this goes all the way to the cards, but the 1.5 total is too thin to play for featherweights.
If I had to make a bet on this fight, I think I would take a shot with the over 1.5 at -145. If you had to make a bet here, what would it be? A side, a total, or a prop?
Well, there's probably multiple plays. I'm comfortable picking McGregor to win. I don't want to see his line go up to 300 though. That would be too much. But parlaying him with another solid favorite elsewhere on the card is a good parlay. And then also, yeah, I think 1.5 rounds is probably reasonable to go over on that one. Although there's also the prop for inside the distance that I think could be useful. And then there is the Hail Mary Poirier by submission. If that thing gets up to plus 700, that's probably worth a play as well.
Well, Nick Kalikas, before we wrap this up, just where do you think this line is going to close? Because we've got a stats guy here who's leaning McGregor. We know the public is going to lean McGregor no matter what. Is there any way that this line climbs even higher, climbs to like 300, 350?
Sure, I think that's a real possibility. I mean, because again, it's the beginning of the week, and I think towards the day of the fight, we're still going to get a lot of trickles of just the hype. I mean, people are going to be betting McGregor because they think he's the next champ, and he's the guy that could possibly defeat Jose Aldo. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the kind of hype this guy's getting right now. So I think it has a real possibility of climbing up to 3-1 or if not higher. But at that point, I would not recommend touching McGregor. Poirier is the biggest challenge of his career. And like I said, you know what? I mean, there are deficiencies for sure McGregor on the ground. I mean, he's been subbed before in his career, and I know he's improved that, and he just caught himself in a bad spot during that fight. But at the same time, a guy that has a submission prowess of somebody like Poirier, you don't want to mess with. And if Poirier does, maybe even rock him and quickly catch a sub or something like that, you don't want to lay that kind of juice. So this is a big test for McGregor. So my opinion personally, as far as the line goes, is let's see if he passes it or not. You don't necessarily have to bet this fight. Again, you said about the total too. That is a dangerous spot as well, 1.5 rounds, because it probably does end inside the distance. So I would prefer, if you're going to lean with Conor McGregor, to just bet that prop. Now, you're not going to be able to get down as much money because the prop limits are a lot lower,
right.
But I think the best play probably would be Conor McGregor inside the distance, because you're going to get more value, and it's going to be a less risk on a prop like that than betting this fight straight. Either way, honestly, I think that's the way to go.
Okay, great analysis, guys. Thanks.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.